especially HR systems. I know most of us in operations, we always keep wondering, what can we do with time management, leave, all of those things. So this morning, those are some of the questions we'd love to answer for you guys. And thank you so much for joining us. My name is Purity Wanjiro. I come from ACCUREX. ACCUREX is a HR consulting firm. We do a lot of things, including trainings, just what you're about to do this morning. We also do I've talked about trainings, we do team building, we do recruitment. Also, we have quite a number of jobs available. So if you're out looking for a job, this will be the perfect time for you to check out our website, our social media pages. You're able to see the jobs we currently have. We also do consulting as a service. We do strategic planning for departments or even organizations. So that's the bit about ACCUREX. So this morning, our facilitator is not a stranger to us, Wilfred. He has been here. He's our technology person. For the longest, we've talked about AI and how it's impacting our businesses, how it's impacting our operations, how it's impacting even us as people. And in the wake of technology and AI, I believe always we're looking out, is there an app that can do this? Is there a portal that can do this? So he's our tech guy, and we are very happy to have him here. He brings in a wealth of experience, even outside technology. So let's hear and tap from him. Let's ask as many questions as we can. Normally, the structure of our webinar is about an hour 15 minutes. So we'll start with a presentation that will take about 45, 50 minutes thereabouts. Good thing today we also have a live, like a practical session on the training. So that one will come at the very tail end of the webinar. Then thereafter, we'll also talk a little bit more about ACCUREX and also have a Q&A session. So that is the plan for the webinar this morning. If you're in need of a certificate or if there's feedback that you want to give us, please, there should be a feedback form that will run on the chat box as we get close to the end. So just take your time, fill it in, give us your feedback, let us know what you're thinking about these webinar sessions. Is there new topics you'd like to see? Let us know all about that. So that is it. And karibuni sana, very happy to have you here. Let's take on this topic of digital HR. So how can HR move from paper to digital? How can you make your work more accessible, how can you even enjoy your experience even as a HR? So that is what we're about to address this morning. And karibu sana, Wilfred.
All right, thank you, Purity. Always a pleasure to be hosted on ACCUREX platform. Yeah. And I believe, as everyone who has patronized this webinar from the beginning can attest to that. It's always enlightening. It's always a learning process. I always have a mantra that I say, every day is a learning process, and we stop learning when we stop. Learning stops when we stop learning. So every day is a learning curve, right? So again, thank you for the opportunity. As your Purity has rightly put it, my name is Wilfred, and I'm glad to be your facilitator today. Trusting that at the end of this session that we'll have a take home, because why are we here anyway? So definitely we are here to learn something new. And topic today is, as Purity has again rightly put it, it's a very hot one, digital, and we cannot avoid this. It's way around us, and as Elon Musk once said, if you don't align with it, you'll be trampled upon. Yeah? If you're, for those of people who like to go to park, to go to see wild animals, if you get in their way, you'll be trampled upon. All right, so without much further ado, today we are covering digital HR. How do we transition between manual and digital system? Of course, we know the digital is the way to go. Everyone is going there. So why should we be left behind? So we'll have a few topics which I'm thinking, or rather I'm hoping at the end of the day will shed some light. Some of these things you may know, some you may not know, but indulge me, because there may be something that you learn today that will help you in your future endeavors. So maybe by the show of hands, do we have HRs on call today? Do we have HRs? Yeah, I thought I would have said now, Purity, if your hand is not up. Okay, good to know we have a good quorum of HRs on call today. And probably my next question would be, is there a HR, or rather a representative of HR who is not running any digital system in terms of HR operations? Hands up. Joy. Okay, so this is the day that we learn. Okay. All right, so we have a few topics, as I mentioned. These are the topics we are going to run with today. First, we are going to see about why do we need to transition, right? Why do we need to digitize ourselves? Why do we need to transform our operations from manual to digital? Again, we are going to see how do we align this transformation into our business ideas, or other business goals. Again, why does this transition matter? Okay, so we are also going to see how we can transition from manual to digital. This is not, it may not be as easy as I'm saying it, because there are a lot of organizations out here that are still on manual only because maybe transitioning, they don't have a way or other roadmap on how they can transition. So we can see, today you're going to learn a little bit about that. Then we are going to see the benefits of the transition, how it's going to benefit us moving from manual to digital system. Now, the biggest, of course, benefit, or rather the biggest item on the list is payroll transformation, because many organizations, some of them just take an automation on payroll only. Because HR systems, automation on HR operations is in many ways, as we are going to see a few of them. But we have a lot of organizations who go module by module. They want to do payroll, they want to do employee management only, they want to do attendance only. So we are going to see about that. Then we are going to see how all this boils down to compliance in terms of our systems, are they complying with regulations? That would be either the law of the land, or either the organization policies and what have you. And then we're going to see how we drive employee adoption, because a digital system is as good as people adopting it. You may have a perfect system, but people don't like it, it may not matter as much. So we are going to see the biggest part of change management, how to do or how to carry it out. And then what does the future hold for our digital systems in terms of HR operations and any other field that we may be trying to automate. All right, so let's be interactive. I will not say we wait for the end of the session to ask questions. If it pops up in your mind, I always encourage you can raise your hand and interject, and then ask your question, because you can only learn when you internalize it in your brain. All right. So at the end of this session, I'm trusting that we'll learn how to transition from manual processes to digital system smoothly. That is because we know there are many obstacles, as if we just jump in because, okay, we've heard of AI, we have of digital systems, and many a times that we fail, okay, we jump in without knowing the whole process, how to carry it out. So we'll learn about that. And again, it's going to gain clarity on the latest payroll compliance tools within our system. I've seen some of us are running systems in our workplaces. For those of us who do not have, again, at the end of the day, we'll see how our PiPO HR system is going to benefit us in terms of automation. And then at the end of the day, also discover strategies that minimize risks in terms of compliance and also minimize errors that comes with manual systems, and can also well be alleviated by automating the same. So on the practical session, we are going to be exploring PiPO HRIS, which is one of the best softwares that we have that has all of these core functions into one. There are not many out there. As I said, many organizations you can see that they have either payroll, they have employee management, they have time and attendance, they have other modules, but getting one that has all modules in one is okay. And it's of course right now we are crying kasongo with this day and age. If you get one that has all these modules, the price will be up there, and which of course in our pockets we are trying to minimize. Onset of COVID shows that a lot of organizations from the COVID pandemic, they are trying to minimize costs as much as possible. So we have to drive value, and if a system drives value and it's affordable to the pocket, why not? Right? Then we are going to see the success factors of this HR system, why the success we are going to get if we transform. All right. Now, getting that out of the way, maybe I'll ask a question. What are the bottlenecks if you have a system? What are the bottlenecks you are facing in the system? Or if you do not have a system in place, what are the bottlenecks that you are facing, so that we can see what we are working with and probably try to see if we can answer in wholesomely, and again, try to direct in a way that we can benefit all of us. By the show of hands, you can just unmute your mics if you want to speak. For the HRs in the building or in the room, we don't have any bottlenecks with our system. For those of us who do not have system, we don't have anything that we see. Now this, I need to find a way to automate this or to digitize this so that it can ease my work. Yeah? Or you can write in the chat platform. Purity will help me read if there's any.
Yes. I'm on the chat box. I'll update you once you have something.
All right. All right. If people are still thinking, I'm glad that systems are working for the people on the call today. While you're still thinking, we can just dive right in. So what is digital HR or transformation? So in terms of digitizing this, we say transformation, it's a strategic implementation of digital technologies. These include tools, frameworks, and articles that modernize the human resource function. We want to create a human resource function that is not just reactive or is not based on afterthought, but we want to optimize it so that it can help in terms of where the organization is being taken. What are the strategic goals that the organization is observing or articulating? This, when you have a system in place, it helps in terms of goal setting. It helps in terms of informed decision making, in terms of employee welfare, and all to help in terms of organizational trajectory. So, why does traditional HR processes no longer work in this day and age? Right? We found that there is a lot of technological advancement that we have gone into. Previously, we talked about AI. And right now, it is coming into even our own personal life, leave alone the organization or rather our profession. So why does manual HR processes do not work? Because now, one, it relies on fixed hierarchies and standard roles. The way we used to do things, manual way, writing letters, used to use that. I don't know if there are many on call that used to have typewriters for people who are, write appointment letters, write minutes, and all those sorts of stuff. So today's teams are cross-functional. They are project-based. They expect flexibility in how they work. So that means manual processes will not work for them anymore. All right. Now, again, we have legacy systems that support manual processes, which frustrates digital native employees, which again, just recently we talked about, or rather we tackled and Gen Zs in a work environment. If you tell Gen Z, I want you to, be dealing with papers, be dealing with manual follow-up of people in terms of how they are working, how do you measure performance in terms of KPIs. If it's done manually, it's going to tire these people, and again, they are going to leave you. All right. So modern workers expect seamless mobile first. We find that a lot of, if you see even the technological advancement in terms of how our mobiles are, right? So we have systems in place that are mobile first in terms of work using your mobiles anywhere at any time, right? So experience from manual to digital becomes good in terms of how we are onboarding, how we are measuring performance reviews, how we are interacting with our day-to-day operations at workplace. Again, lack of personalization. This undermines inclusion, whether it's career development, whether it's mental health resources, all those stuff, okay? So this is why it doesn't include this is diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Manual systems do not take care of that. That's why now we've come to digital systems. What are the benefits of adopting HR systems? Again, one of it, we are looking at efficiency, we are looking at accuracy, we are looking at compliance. All right? And I believe that's one of the reasons that ACCUREX has their name ACCUREX. They are trying to digitize so that they can remain in terms of information they put up there, how they interact with people, how they interact with processes, how they operate becomes accurate in a way the information or data is passed across. Now, one of the benefits is streamlined of operations. We realize that when we onboard digital systems in place, we reduce costs, we reduce repetitive tasks, like payroll, for example. We reduce approval, reduces manual errors. For example, I know many of us here have gone through the manual system one way or the other. And you find that some of the errors that are caused, there is a famous term that is called, say, human error or computer error. Those who remember the era that was when our former president was in finance, he said there is a computer error somewhere. All right. So manual systems, or rather manual processes, are prone to a lot of errors. Maybe at this point, I'd like to ask a question. Is there an event where a manual process has cost maybe your company some money, or maybe some, what do you call, like status, for example? Anyone? All of us are dealing with a digital system. There's no one who has dealt with manual operations, manual systems. You can raise your hand and, yeah, Purity.
I think one time, but that must have been many years ago.
Yeah.
I processed the payroll twice.
Yeah.
And I think the director had so much trust in me in that organization, because I sent the first trigger for the bank and he approved it. I sent the second one and he approved it. So it's only later the accountant is coming and asking me, "Kwani umelipa pesa ngapi?"
Mm.
I was shocked out of this life. So that is the cost of manual errors. So recovering this money from employees, you can imagine normal employees what they will tell you. Sinuli niwekea.
Yes.
Sasa now you want to deduct all at once. So we almost had to come up with a 6 months payment plan for an error that I had made. And you can imagine in 6 months how many employees left.
Mhm.
So for me, that was very costly. It almost costed my job at that point, but a lesson I learned the hard way anyway. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Purity. And I know many, even if they are not saying, I know many have experienced one way or the other the effect of manual payroll, and or even the bank. Sometimes ago, I know many organizations these days have digitized their system, but many years ago, manual system used to happen, and you find that even in the bank, uh, you can find that you are either deducted or added some amount that is not really correct. And I know many of us will say, if it's an addition, you will not go back to the bank and say, okay, you added me some, where did this money come from? Yeah. But if it's a deduction, definitely you will go running to the bank trying to find out why did you deduct this, right? Any message on the chat board? I'm seeing a message. Meshach saying time wasted is key data to keying data again. Yes, definitely. With the Excel, chances of making errors are very high. Kibaya is saying using manual means can really embarrass you, like what Curity has said. Colleagues where I joined recently spoke of how payslip leaks to all employees using alphabetic order. Now you can see, because in Kenya, I know payslips is a confidential document, and finding out that and why it is so is because you might be in the same role, but you are paid differently. That's why people like to hide that. So if you find that because of manual systems, this payroll has leaked, it can go even as far as having being sued, for example. So manual processes, they drain time, as we've seen. They have errors. Of course, they limit access to important information that you could have had in terms of whether you are on digital, all right? Now, data-driven decision-making. This is one of biggest benefits that you get when you digitize your system. You get to have real-time dashboards, or rather real-time data, and it can help you predict in terms of where your organization is forecasting to be. And now HR can track turnover risks, can track skill gaps, can track diversity metrics, making the operation in terms of HR smooth. So we see there are a lot of benefits that are pegged back to digital systems. Again, we have enhanced employee experience. As I've mentioned, these days systems are mobile first. So if you have a system that people can access from wherever, whenever, it becomes an experience that is good in terms of engagement with your staff, engagement with your employees. Say, for example, it's a leave management system. If you have a system that they can access whether they want to take a leave, you don't have to, print a paper, then fill in manually. You can just fill in, and then approval process also goes down the hierarchies in terms of approving the same. It creates a user experience that is very good, and of course, operations are streamlined, workflows are streamlined. Then data, many a times in manual system, you don't know, for example, if it's leave management, someone took 5 days last month, they are taking 2 days this month, and in your deduction, maybe you are not deducting the way you're supposed to be. At the end of the year, you'll find out that this person went for leave for like almost 18 days, but you have deducted maybe only 10. Where are the rest? And correlating this data, sometimes file disappear. We've had the famous in our government system, when you go to, I will not mention names, but these government parastatals, you go there, they tell you there is no file. The file, you need to also charge some money and for you to get assisted in the way that you should be. All right. But if there is a system in place, I believe this is why our president is trying to put systems in place so that we can have reference in terms of backtracking. And again, we can have ready data when you need to access that. All right. So again, how does it align with overall business strategy? One, it accelerates organizational agility. Now, once you have these HR platforms in place, when your hiring becomes faster, when you are onboarding, it becomes seamless. When you are deploying people to different roles, it becomes very easy, and it's very easy to support business goals like those who want to expand. They can relate on data-driven information, or rather data-backed up information in terms of how they want to adapt, or rather to improve, or rather to adapt to the changing customer demands. Because today's customer demands in relationships. Now, if you can break a relationship between yourself and the customer, in terms of how you are dealing with them, the experience will not be good. So in this case, the HR becomes a proactive partner because they have the data. If it's employee data, if it's customer data, if it's operational data, and he doesn't become a bottleneck in terms of organizational strategy. Again, it empowers strategic workforce in terms of planning, because we know when you have this system in place, they have analytics, they have forecasting, they have tools that can identify where the risks are, where the compliance is, or where we need to fill in terms of the gaps. All right. So the system aligns directly with strategic planning, ensuring that the right people are in the right roles at the right time. And then business can concentrate on data-backed decision in terms of aligning their strategic goals. All right. Number three, it enhances employee experience. Again, going back to what I mentioned before, we have access to digitized mobile phone, or rather AI mobile phones. We can have access to information right when we need it, at the point we need it. So it creates a seamless user experience. It creates a loyalty engagement in terms of how we are engaging with our staff, our management, and also even creating a very good brand out there, a strong brand out there in terms of an organization. All right. So we are going to see many benefits when you digitize the system, or rather digitize our HR system. Again, it reduces compliance risks because now we have automated these workflows. Errors have reduced. We are able to meet regulatory requirements in terms of reducing legal exposures. All right. Like, for example, if you hire someone and then do not manage their data well, the data, if it's exposed to, parties that are not supposed to, you can have a case in your hand. So having a digital system in place helps you to reduce this risk and, of course, stay compliant. All right, now what are these types of HR systems? I know there are many, 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 many types of HR systems in the workplace today, but I know one of it is PiPO HR. We are not going to discuss about many others, but I know the common ones. We have AlphaBiz, we have another one called MemorySoft, we have another one. There's a new entrant. I think it became in Kenya in early 2024. It's called Seamless HR. It has become also very big. So, but all these platforms, they have one thing in common. We are going to see the core functions that they have, all of them. But again, the HR system becomes the backbone of modern human resources operations, because when it's aligned with the digital era, they become powerful tools that can have a very big impact in terms of organizations transformation. Okay, so what are these core benefits or other core functions? One is employee data management. Many of these systems offer central data management, employee data management, all right? If it's jobs, advertisements, onboarding, payroll functions, and all those stuff. Then we have payroll and benefits administration. Again, this is a very critical area, because when you mess up with people's money, it can even land you into legal cases. We've seen how Purity has explained there. Manual system can cause you to even pay people twice. I would like to be paid twice, but not return. All right. Then another core function is leave and attendance tracking. Many of these systems have this in place: time of request, sick days, work days, study days, compassionate leaves, and all those other leave matters. So having all this streamlined helps you as an organization or as a HR to have your data in place in terms of how are you operating, how are you tracking this as employee information or other employee leave, so that you don't get people going for leave 30 days, but a lot of organizations have either between 28 and 30 days leave policy. So you can find that many people, because it's a manual system, they can go on leave, but it's never tracked. So it's good to have this system in place. Again, another core function is recruitment and onboarding. Okay. This manages job posting, application tracking. I remember last time we talked about ATS, the application tracking system. So it can help you narrow down to what is the best who is the best candidate for your team. Another one would be performance management, which is also a very important aspect of digital HR, because again, we come to work also to perform better. And an organization, you as an employer, you wouldn't want staff in your organization that is not performing, because you are paying them. At the end of the day, how do you measure that performance? How do you say that this employee has performed well for my organization? There has to be some key metrics that you are tracking, all right? And you having a system like this helps you achieve that. Last one would be now to learning and development. We realize that learning and development more, so it's like a core function of, or rather it's an additional function for HR practitioners or HR department. So many people who are developing these HR systems, they also have modules for learning and development, which again helps an organization in terms of how they engage their employee. Because me as an employee, I would feel very good, or I'll feel motivated when also my employer cares about my development in terms of skill improvement. HR system, they handle nuts and bolts of workforce management. That's why we see it elevation of this system into strategic assets helps an organization to be productive. All right. The last one, but an important aspect, is compliance and reporting. Many of these systems, when you have them in place, again, you'll alleviate a lot of regulatory risks. You will alleviate a lot of organizational policy risks, because now the system is in place. It is able to enforce organizational policies, and also keeping in mind with the laws of the land. All right. Now, what are the steps that we can take for migrating from manual system to digital system? Right? Now, as I said, many organizations have remained in the manual system, not because they don't want to, it's because either they don't know how to, or they don't have the clear roadmap of how to go about that. So there are several ways that we can go about this. First of all, as a HR or as a practitioner who wants to digitize the system, or rather digitize the operations, one of the core areas is to look at the current processes. What are the existing processes? What are the existing workflows? And how, excuse me, how best can we move, or rather can we, how best can we digitize this? Another key aspect is to define the objective, because some organization or many organizations get lost in terms of how their objective, in terms of when or how they want to go out to digitize their system. Why are we digitizing? The why. It is very important to define that, because it can help you to clearly communicate the end goal in terms of the system that you want to put in place. There is a famous saying that digital transformation is like having, it's like a caterpillar blossoming into a butterfly. That is, if you have the right system in place, it's like a caterpillar blossoming into a butterfly. But if it's the wrong system, it's like now you just have a very fast caterpillar. It doesn't help you. So you might have a good system, but it's not aligning with your objective. Again, it will be a bottleneck rather than an enabler, right? Now, again, selecting these processes become also a priority. How do we select what to digitize first? Because again, we have to go step by step. We may want to digitize everything at a go, but again, are we clear on the roadmap? So this will help us choose the right digital tools and consider what integration, in terms of either we have some other legacy systems in our place, in our environment, how does it integrate with our legacy systems, our existing systems? Then once you have all this laid out, then you can redesign the workflow that will help you simplify and process this digital system. After that is laid out, then you can prepare to migrate. Of course, there are challenges that come with it in terms of adopting. One of it will be resistant to change. I know many of us, we are resistant to change. We see more so, like, for example, the SHA and the SHE and the EMIS, IFMI. No communication, right communication out there, that becomes a challenge because people are resistant to change. When employees and managers feel they are uncomfortable with this, they resist that change. So how do we overcome that? We need to communicate clearly the benefit of why we need or why we are digitizing this system. We need to also do culture shift, transitioning from administrative to strategic. All right, number two, one of the challenges will be lack of skills. We want to digitize, but we don't have skill sets in terms of employees that use these tools. How do we overcome it? Providing a step-by-step training and offer support in terms of how we are aiming at. What are we aiming at? If we train people, we have clearly articulated objective, and now we need to also train these people how to use this system. All right? Again, migration issues, as I said, if we've not considered the steps that we've gone through, we will have migration issues. The system might be good, but because of the way we articulated our change management, becomes now an issue to migrate. How do you overcome this? Conducting data cleaning before migrating. Of course, you have to validate your data before you migrate the system. Right? That will help alleviate some of these challenges. Another big concern is cost issue. All right, because now when you have a cost issue in place, again, it boils down to how is this system going to help you? What is the ROI? What I'm investing versus what I will get out of this system. So again, people might hesitate to transit it from manual to digital because of cost issues. Again, how we can maneuver this, we present our business case as a HR practitioner, how this is going to benefit the organization, how it's going to, become a proactive partner in terms of decision making, so that the cost element can be alleviated to that. All right, number 3, you have payroll automation. This one was a big area, or rather it forms part of the big area why HR systems or why HR department digitize. One of the main issues is to the high error rate for manual system. Again, going back to what Purity had mentioned before. Manual data is prone to errors. Now, there are people, especially for manufacturing companies or other companies that offer overtime. How do you calculate this? We have had issues that employees are saying that I worked for 40 hours, but you're paying me for 30 hours. How do you manage that? You have to have a system in place that will capture the information so that you can well articulate or rather make decision in terms of how you pay overtime, how you pay or rather how you do deductions, and again, tax calculation. And Kenya is one of those countries that has a lot of deduction in terms of taxes. So if you don't know how to calculate this, you need to have a system in place that will help you alleviate some of these. So what is the advantage for automation? This is to automate this calculation. This will reduce errors, will increase accuracy, and will apply consistent rules on this. Again, will reduce time consumption and inefficiencies, because we realize manual systems take a lot of time, all right? To reduce this, we need to have a system in place that will help us automate and reduce processing time. This is what the digital system or HR system comes to alleviate. Again, we've talked about compliance, right? Payroll, we have, they are called what? Labor laws. If you have, most of the payroll systems that we have in place have incorporated some laws or rather labor laws into it. So if you have the system in place, it will help you in terms of compliance and avoid the legal risk. Again, you'll stay up to date with the rules and regulation. This is part of what we call part of compliance, that is, right? What are the risks? Lack of transparency and audit trail. Manual system has a lot of risks in terms of how we do or rather deploy our data. Automation for this reduces this risk. System is maintaining detailed audit logs. It's maintaining easy reporting. You can report if, again, you can access this data when you require it, how you require it, how you want to format it. You get at the, at the tap of your finger like this. So it increases transparency. All right. Again, it offers scalability in terms of whatever you need added into the system or removed in the system. The system is very flexible, all right? When your organization grows, when your payrolls, data becomes big, again, the system is able to adjust to how your organization is growing, again, removing the bottleneck and increasing efficiency in that matter. Another big obstacle there is employee dissatisfaction. Of course, for example, if you have delayed in salary disbursement because of manual system, either you had an error here, you had an error. So trying to align that error, it causes a delay. You find that employees are paid late just because the manual system took a lot of time to prepare. So it removes all this. Benefit of this is employees can access pay slips, if it's tax forms, when and it's available. All right, now we have, how do we navigate laws, data protection, and workplace regulation? This is now in terms of compliance for these digital systems. Wow, with the digital system, we realize that calculating deduction, benefits, contribution, overtime tracking, leave management is ensuring, helps in ensuring compliance. Again, we see that data protection and privacy tool comes in place because now the system helps you to save data. It has features like maybe data minimization, right to access, because not anybody can access information that you have in your system. Again, it helps in compliance. Number three, workplace regulation compliance. You have these tools in place to ensure health and safety in place, tracking workplace incidents, trainings, policy acknowledgement, because a lot of organizations these days have policy in place. And how do we ensure that these policies are enforced? By also having this system in place then that can track the same. Now, how do we drive adoption? Now, in digital system, we say the biggest part of digital transformation is changing how we use it, or changing us, how we think about it, because adoption starts from ourselves. How do we perceive the systems? Because if we see it as a bottleneck, it will not help us in terms of aligning or rather adopting it. So we have to also have the drive within us that the system is here to help, but not to hinder. So highlighting the system that the system will simplify tasks, emphasizing that data-driven insights, workflow planning will support strategic decision. This is one of the ways to drive adoption. Creating training strategies for smooth adoption, tailor sessions for different user groups, use digital adoption platforms to teach users in real time. This again will help in driving adoption. Building a digital first HR culture. This now is to shift mindset by encouraging openness in terms of innovation. Employees are there they have ideas. How do they articulate those ideas that can help you also streamline the system? Encouraging feedback, open feedback, that is, if I have feedback for the company, and my ideas, I'm sure that if my ideas can be taken seriously, I'll be open to giving feedback. So those are some of the ways to drive adoption. Why does it matter? Clear communication, it builds trust, it reduces resistance in terms of adoption, and it aligns everyone on what the trajectory of the organization is, right? It provides also to providing an ongoing support. So again, lastly, what we are looking at, what are the future trends? Because I began by saying that the future is digital. So for those of us who do not have systems in place that will help us reduce errors and increase efficiency, we have to embrace digital future. we realize that digital is the digital HR, or rather HR systems are reshaping how we operate, and it is a force that we cannot avoid. Like, for example, there is a company that uses AI to generate or analyze interviews, video interviews, analyze candidates, and which again improves speed in terms of interviews, in terms of onboarding employees, and also empowering employees, because we realize that when you have these systems, employees can interact with HRs not only in their offices but also within these systems, and they can talk to the HR regarding their welfare, and the HR through the system can be able to resolve some of these issues which have become a bottleneck. Now, as I said, most HR, what is trending is that most systems that are being put in place are easy to even access through our devices that we have, whether it's a laptop, a mobile phone, a tablet, and so forth. So it makes user experience becomes easy. It makes interaction becomes smooth. Again, so there is an increase in AI, as I've mentioned, and analytics. So these analytics helps in terms of how do we predict our future, how do we forecast our future strategic goals, how do we forecast our initiatives, and it reduces biasness. We have a system that also takes real-time data. In terms of key performance indicators, it keeps track of that. In terms of demographics, keeps track of that. In terms of simulating workforce scenarios, it keeps track of that. This is to ensure that there is succession planning in terms of organization dynamics, right? There is an increase in cloud-based and mobile solutions. Again, we are going growing into digital era. And one of these is most organizations are now cloud-based. They have cloud-based platforms. And this does not leave behind the HR system, which now enables staff and even HR practitioners to access and manage from anywhere, from any device. This, of course, increases flexibility. All right. Last but not least, generative AI is also one of the future trends that we are going in. So just input data into the system, and it's able to give you forecast. It's able to give you what you need to do, or rather preempt what you need to do in terms of organizational structures, in terms of performance, in terms of onboarding, in terms of recruiting, and so forth. And it helps in digital fluency. It helps us, a staff or rather an organization, to upskill in terms of employee welfare. As I said, there's this system, some of them have modules for learning and development. So when you incorporate into that, of course, it's going to increase productivity at the organization level, and it's going to improve employee experience. Also, the future is feedback driven, as we tackled last time about Gen Zs who want feedback right there and then. So even organizations these days, they want feedback. When you go out to engage clients, when you engage with your staff, what are they talking about in terms of operations, your operations at work, or in terms of organization and client engagement? So feedback is a big thing. And then strategic shift. Organizations are moving from experimenting with AI and embedding AI into their system. Now, many organizations and many systems, we've seen that it has incorporated AI. So it's transforming how HR functions, and how now HR becomes more of a proactive partner rather than reactive. So we don't have to wait for things to happen so that we can take stock. All right. So that, ladies and gentlemen, Now there's a Q&A session. I think that's all that we have for you today. So if there is a question, I would like to tackle that. But before then, we can see, I've taken a lot of your time, Purity.
Not to worry about it.
We can see some of the core functions that we dealt with in terms of what PiPO HRIS can do, and how best we can align in terms of when we want to digitize the system. Purity, over to you.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm just hoping, Becky, I was not your HR, the person who paid you twice. Most likely it was, I hope it was not me, but I did that error. And whenever I think about it, I'm like, what was I thinking? So let me just take you quickly over PiPO HRIS. It will take about, say, 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, just to see or to create a real case scenario. What Wilfred was talking about. So this is PiPO HRIS. So in an ideal case, if you are to be onboarded, you'll get a unique URL. So say, for example, like this one is accurex.pipohrs.io. So if you're Zawadi Hotel, so it will be like that. So normally this is like our login dashboard. Wilfred, just confirm to me you're able to see my screen.
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. So, so this is the login dashboard. So ideally, if you log in, even if it's for the first time, you'll see a dashboard like this. So this dashboard is able to give you different metrics depending on also what you're feeding into your system. You're able to see your contact information on the top part of the page. There's a holiday list, so you can always be ready to plan for your next holidays. So if there are any company announcements, they will come here. So if, for example, oh no, this one is for contracts that are about to end, people that are on probation. So this is where the information will come in. So this one gives you some uh, analytics based on different modules that we have. So we have 4 modules currently in our system. So the higher module is a bit active on this portal, especially since it's the one that we use to advertise the job openings we have. So you can see the active jobs that are there, applicants, new applicants, you can see the shortlisted ones, the interviewed ones. So this one can quickly give you a glimpse of what is happening in your HR system. The same as manage, you're able to see the number of employees you have, the shifts that are currently ongoing, policies that are already uploaded, projects, events, and all of that. So this is just a metrics dashboard. I know a lot of HRs will call it data analytics, but that is the dashboard. So the core of the system, PiPO HRIS, is actually in the organizational settings. The fact that if you are able to get it right, especially at the point of setup, there's a lot that you can do in your HR system. So here you're able to do branches. So the good thing about the system, you can manage multi branches. Nairobi, Nakuru, Kisumu, Homa Bay. So all of them, you can manage them on the same platform. You can manage your departments, regardless of how many they are. We have designations, salary grades. So this one, when we were creating this system, we wanted not to do just normal HR, you know. So like issues like salary grading, I know that is not normal HR scope of work, but the fact that you can categorize different people in different salary grades or scales, I think even at the point of hiring, it's easier to know that this person is in this grade, hence this is their job title and all of that. So this is where a lot of it, so it ideally looks like this. So you can do job grading for the roles or departments that you have. These are just to help you for recruitment, email templates. So our system already has embedded emails. So you don't need to design emails unless you want to customize, but either way you can use what is already available in the system. This is a formality checklist when you're doing onboarding, because we have an onboarding function in the system. On the roles and the responsibilities, this is where you're able to give, I think my internet is a bit down. The pages are not able to load in as fast as possible. Oh yes, no, this is the emails I was talking about. So every component of the system already has an email attached to it. So it's only a matter of reading it and figuring it out. Does it communicate in the language of organization? Do it need to change and all of that? So these roles is where you're able to give different people different rights of your system. So like HR potentially will have all the rights in your organization. Manager have rights of people in their department. The payroll team only maybe will have access of the payroll, and maybe the attendance sheet, the supervisors. So it's you to define who you want to give what permissions. And then that said, then you come down here and allocate the permissions. So leave and attendance, I know especially with employees, this takes up the biggest part of our work. So good thing about our system, we have both flexible. I know a lot of companies, I think majority don't work on Sundays. Almost half of that population will work Saturday, half day. Then the biggest work, especially the blue collar ones, they do not have a standard off day. So the same is considered in the system, that even if you take your off day on a Monday, you're able to key into the system. Then the holidays, ideally this is like a once in a, what would I call it? Well, an annual event. In January, you come, you load in the holidays of that year, you leave it. So it will automatically populate in the attendance. So the same case for interviews, you could define interview stages. Maybe your first interview is HR, then maybe there's a technical interview, then there's a CEO interview. So depending on how the structure your interviews take in your organization, you could consider that. The same case for assessments. Some roles will require you to do personality tests, psychometric tests, competency tests, all of that. So these are two ways to approach it, especially when you're on this module. You can set up your own assessments, or you can do an integration with an assessment offering organization. So if you decide to do it within the system, you have to create your own assessments. Alternatively, there's an option to do integration. Then tickets is just a way of allowing your employees to talk to you. That said, so if they have an issue with their laptop, they can raise a ticket. If they're having an issue with salaries, for example, they can raise a ticket. If they're having a grievance, they can raise a ticket. And these tickets will ideally be assigned to the respective people in the organization. So another core of this system is the payroll management system. So the payroll, it's two tiers to mean the core part of the payroll is controlled from the master system. So like, for example, if NSSF changes today or PAYE rate, it will be changed from the core system, which will translate to your individual systems. So there's no need of like an engineer to come and configure for you. So once it is changed from the master system, it automatically picks into the tenants. So like ACCUREX is a tenant, we have another tenant, so it will ideally pick that. So here you can define what you want to put in terms of allowances. This part is the statutory allowances, the ones that you get some sort of tax levies, like waivers. So these ones we've considered. You can add your own internal additions, be it a lunch, be it like gym allowance, if it's a Valentine's Day voucher. So whatever you want to give in terms of additions. Then the same case for deductions, you can add different deductions. Uh, Especially where payroll is very static, like it doesn't have too many variables, you can put it on auto, such that on first of every month, the payroll generates. On either 25th, I see some payrolls are paid on 25th. If you set it on 25th, it will automatically generate. So, but this one will work for payrolls that do not have a lot of variables. But if yours has a lot of variables, this might not work because it will run your payroll before you've either completed on your variables and such. So this is also another thing, but this one is embedded on the Kenyan law that you cannot pay a salary less than a third of the gross pay. So if you put it on, it will make sure that that is observed. If you put it off, you can as well pay someone 10 shillings as a salary. So, but best practice is just to follow what is in the law. So the custom questions is for different roles, you might want to ask different questions just to assess their suitability for that role. So this one ideally will help the ATS part, but you can remember when you were talking about AI and technology, now people have started beating these custom questions because they just pick the questions, they quickly send it to ChatGPT, they get an answer, they put it there. So by the time you're coming back to review the answers, almost 100 applicants are giving you the same answer. So, Wilfred, I think we need to talk to AI innovators to figure out how to manage AI, especially the recruitment process. So, ideally, that is the backbone of our system. Uh, Let me quickly talk about hire, even if I'll not go into details about it. So, like our hire module has these capabilities. So, you're able to post a job, applicants are able to apply for the job. So even if they apply for the job, it will come directly to our system. Be able to do assessments like the ones I've shown you from the back end. Be able to do interviews or schedule interviews. Be able to do background verification. This one is very expensive today, especially. So imagine a system that can do that for you at no additional cost. Then after background verification, you can release job offers, you can release contracts. So after that, automatically we go to onboarding. So onboarding comes under management because now this person has stopped to being a candidate to an employee. So you can onboard employees, you can view your employees, you can manage their shifts on the system, be it even if it's a 24-hour shift system you have. So you can be able to set the shift, assign people to different shifts and all of that. If there's a project you have as an organization, you can add it as a project, assign people, set budgets on the project. The same case for attendance. So our attendance, especially if you do not have a biometric system, you can do attendance on the system, where you're able to do like daily check-ins on the system. But if you have a biometric system, you can integrate it. So it will be able to take the, what are they called? There's a name that you use, especially when you do integration. Then you're able to manage leave. Very unique feature in our system is you can block a leave day. Say, for example, there's a company event, say a team building where all employees is a must for them to attend. So you can block that day on their calendar such that they can take leave or they cannot take an off day that day. So that's a very unique feature. You can add policies on your system and make sure people confirm or acknowledge those policies, disciplinary procedures. This one especially is very much embedded to the Employment Act. So depending on the case or the disciplinary case, say if it's absenteeism, the system will automatically show you what step you need to do or to give. Assume it is another disciplinary issue. So it gives you the options. Do you give fast warning? Do you give a verbal warning? Do you give all of that? So even if as a HR you're not too familiar on HR processes, we really tried our best to integrate the Employment Act in our system such that you don't cause unnecessary costs, especially to your company. So the same case for grievances. This is a portal for employees to talk to the company, especially if they have a grievance. You can add events on your system. Employees can also view either upcoming events or past events that the company has held. Here you can do an asset register. For example, if you give phones, you give laptops, you give cars. So you can manage all of those assets here. And finally, offboarding. So depending if it's a resignation, a termination, retirement, so you're able to do offboarding at this point. So payroll is the same thing. You're able to do payroll adjustments, be it the additions, deductions over time. So once you do that, then you can run your payroll. Here you're able to get payroll reports. These payroll reports are very aligned. So if it's a KRA report, if you download it, you can directly upload it on iTax. If it's NSSF, SHA, all of those. So you can easily download them and also upload them on the respective portals. Our payroll also has a payroll matrix just to avoid payroll mistakes like paying people twice. So, so once you run the payroll, it will ideally move to the next level for approval purposes and all of that. Performance management. This is also very big, and also quite a number of our clients are using this module. Our performance management method that we've embedded on this system is OKR. OKR is objective and key results. It's a very new system in the market. So, no, it's not a system, it's a very new method in the market, which is also giving us a lot of good feedback, especially from employees, employers, and all of that. But also, it has a KPI component on it. So, the performance, you can either do it quarterly, half yearly, or annually. So all those options are there. You can review, you can put people on PEP. PEP, in other organizations, they call it PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. So you're able to do that. You can give people rewards, you can promote them at the end of the performance appraisal cycle and all of that. Then here you'll get the reports from appraisal, nani wamejaza, nani wajajaza, who has been ranked what. So all of that will come under the report part. And finally, the engage. This is the segment where the company now tries to engage with employees, be it asking quizzes, asking questions, giving announcements, and all of that. So that is PiPO HRIS for you at a glimpse. We are happy to give you a much more detailed demo if you need. So I welcome you. Ask us for a demo, see what the system can do for you. We've really tried to develop it, to integrate the AI component to it, such that manual HR processes can actually be done at a click of a button on a system. Wilfred, back to you. Umenikimbisha.
Marathon.
Yeah.
So now you have seen, for everybody, I've seen the HRS system. It has covered all the core functions that we have run through. And I believe this covers majorly all the areas, or 90% of the areas that are functions of HR operations. And partly on the AI function also. And then the ATS system, which is also, as Purity had mentioned, people are becoming clever on it. So yeah, it is a way to go. So I'll welcome questions. And someone asked if PiPO HRS is on-prem or on cloud, but yes, it's on cloud, and it offers as SaaS. For those people who don't know what SaaS means, it's software as a service, and you can access it anywhere on any device. So as Purity has rightly put it, even employees can request for salary increment, can give suggestions, can give ideas which can help, organization. And for the HRs on the call who do not have a system, I would really encourage a demo from PiPO HRS system. There are many out there, but now you have seen what PiPO HRS can do. And most importantly, as I began by saying, we are doing cost reduction for most organizations. And this one is easy on the pocket. So you can't say I don't have a digital system in place because of money. This one can keep you going before you become a Fortune 500, and then you say, okay, PiPO HRIS is small, and but at that time we'll have developed all those features that you require.
At that time, you'll buy PiPO HRIS.
Yes.
When
So
you're
any
ready
other
for
question?
500. Yes, I think it is important to say the rate, especially for the SaaS option. The SaaS option is 200 shillings per active employee, especially if you are below 100 employees. If you are above 100, just bring your proposal. We'll give you a very discounted discount. Yeah.
Bei ya jioni.
Yeah.
All right. So again, so back to you, Purity. Maybe you can just mention for those of us who came in late for what ACCUREX is all about and what we do.
Okay. All right. Oh, perfect. So first of all, thank you so much, Wilfred. Also bringing HRS in a practical, applicable way in our organization, because I know a lot of us, especially those who are actively working as HRs, the first question management will ask you, what is the benefit? Why? Excel is working, why would we pay 200 shillings yet there's a free option? So thank you for answering those questions. I know the HRs will go and make a better value proposition on why they should get a HR system for the organizations, and also the benefits and the headache. I really hated doing payroll when I was actively working for organizations, just because you'll have to lock yourself almost for a week. And even people in the organization know HR ongeleshana kwanzia date 25. But you can imagine with a HR system like people HRS at button, there you are. So I encourage you to come, talk to us, find out what more we can do for you, even apart from people HRIs, patronize our other products. We have HR consulting as a service. We have training as a service, team building. They're now right on season. So make sure you book those Saturdays already. The October, almost like 3 Saturdays in October already booked. So you can imagine you're fighting for one Saturday. Yes, so mapema ndio best. That I must say for sure. So come patronize us, ask questions, invite us to your organizations. We'd love to see where you work and what more we can do for your organizations out there. So that is ACCUREX. Visit our website. Our website is very informational, I must say. Our website is www.accurex.co.ke. So there you're able to see upcoming events, new webinars we're bringing your way in the next couple of weeks, new training sessions, new programs, offshoring, recruitment. I've talked about it. We have quite a number of open positions that we're still filling. What else are we doing? Events that we are holding. We are planning to do like a mass event in around December, just to see the people who attend our webinars. So that is a plan in the back of our minds. It would be nice to see the people who are always behind a screen every Wednesday. So that's a big plan that we have. We have a question. Is PiPO HRIS available for Kenya only? No, it's not available for Kenya only. So even if you have footprint out of Kenya, out of Africa, no, you can't be out of the world. We're able to give you a solution that is specific to the organization that you're working.
Even when you are out in Mars, Elon Musk has that capability of reaching people.
Yes, yes, I know. So that is it from us at ACCUREX. Thank you so much, Wilfred, once again. Thank you for the entire team that was able to log in this morning. It is always nice to have you. See you again next week on ACCUREX O'Clock. That one I've already declared it. So thank you so much. Thank you, ACCUREX team. The people who are busy working in the background to make sure that these webinars are live and they're able to come on you even on time. Thank you so much. Feel free to give us your feedback. There's a link on the chat box, so give us your feedback. Let's talk to you as soon as we can next week. Thank you and have a good afternoon.